Du musst nicht kommen. Du darfst nicht kommen. One of those is a friendly release, you're off the hook. The other is a flat prohibition. If you learn German through English, you will reach for the wrong one, because English uses musst not for the ban, and German does not. That single mismatch is the most expensive mistake in the whole modal system, and we'll fix it properly before the end. But let's start where it's easy, because the modals themselves are one of the tedious corners of German grammar. 6 verbs, 1 sentence pattern, and almost no exceptions. Here they are. Können, to be able to. Müssen, to have to. Wollen, to want to. Sollen, to be supposed to. Dürfen, to be allowed to. And mögen, which you'll almost always meet in its polite form, möchte, would like. That's the entire set. There is no 7th modal waiting to ambush you later. Notice something already. Each one is an attitude toward an action rather than an action itself. You don't müssen on its own. You müssen do something. That's why they never travel alone. And it's why the sentence has the shape it does. Here's the pattern, and it does not change. The modal is conjugated and sits in Position 2. The other verb goes to the very end. As an infinitive, the plain dictionary form, no ending. Ich muss nach Hause gehen. Muss is second. Gehen is last. Everything else, where you're going, when, with whom, gets stacked in the middle. English speakers want to say, ich muss gehen nach Hause, because that's the English order. German holds the verb back. Get comfortable with that gap, because the sentence doesn't finish until the last word arrives. Now, the forms, and there's a pleasant surprise. Ich and sie, s are identical, and both take no ending at all. Ich kann, kann. Ich muss, sie muss. Compare that with a normal verb. Ich gehe, geht, where the ending changes. Modals just don't. Most of them also shift their stem vowel in the singular. Müssen becomes ich muss, können becomes ich kann, dürfen becomes ich darf. The plural forms go back to normal and look like the infinitive. Wir müssen, sie können. So the irregularity is real, but it's confined to the singular, and it's the same shape every time. Now the one that matters most. Negate a modal and the meaning can flip. Müssen plus nicht does not mean must not. It removes the obligation. Du musst nicht kommen. You don't have to come. It's your choice, nobody minds. Prohibition is a different verb entirely. Dürfen plus nicht. Du darfst nicht kommen, you are not allowed to come. Here's the test that will keep you right. If you could replace it with kein Zwang, no obligation, it's müssen nicht. If you replace it with verboten, forbidden it, es dürfen nicht. A German colleague who says das musst du nicht machen is letting you off. Hear that as a ban and you'll spend the afternoon worrying about nothing. 2 smaller ones. First, after a modal, the second verb is an infinitive, never conjugated. Kann Klavier spielen, not kann spielt. Once the modal is doing the conjugating, the other verb relaxes. Second, können is ability, dürfen is permission. Kann ich hier parken asks whether it's physically possible. Is there space? Darf ich hier parken asks whether it is allowed. In everyday speech Germans blur these two constantly, so you'll hear können doing both jobs. But with officials, in writing, and any time the answer actually matters, the distinction is worth keeping. Third, sollen is not müssen. Müssen is your own necessity, the situation forces it. Sollen is someone else's expectation. Ich soll 8 da sein means somebody told me to be, not that the universe requires it. It's the verb for instructions, advice, and other people's plans, which is why it turns up constantly at work. Everything on one board. 6 modals. The conjugated modal sits second, the infinitive goes last, and everything else lives in between. If and are identical and take no ending. Müssen plus nicht means no obligation. Dürfen plus nicht means forbidden. Möchte is your polite everyday form. Ich möchte einen Kaffee is how you order without sounding blunt. Screenshot this one. If you only keep the middle line, modal kommt, infinitive last, you'll build correct modal sentences from today. Reading a rule and using it are different skills, and the second one is the one you actually want. There's a free drill on exactly this at Übungszeit.com. A short workplace story with the modals doing real work in it, including the musst, nicht, and darfst nicht pair, so you meet the trap while it's fresh. No account needed to try it, and it marks your answers and tells you why. The written guide is linked below too. Then come back and say the sentences out loud, because that's where the word order finally sticks. Los geht's!